The Xbox user interface gets a nice update that people are pretty excited about. Marathon, it gets worse for them as there's a lot of outrage about what has happened. So we'll talk about that plus many other things in the news. But before we continue, if you enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share, like, notification, all of those things that you are always told to do. Just helps get the channel out there and helps get people to discover the content. But for now, let's jump into it. So Xbox user interface is getting another update. This is a small, but I think really finally needed and wanted update from a lot of people. A lot of people seem pretty excited about this, and it just has to do with being able to personalize your home screen, specifically being able to pin your favorite stuff on the home screen itself. Here is the update that Xbox Wire did put out. Xbox insiders are currently going to be able to experience it first with new ways to personalize the home screen. They say starting this week, Xbox insiders will notice a fresh set of customization options rolling out to the recently played games and apps list on home. And the update is part of the ongoing effort to make home more personal, flexible, and responsive to your feedback. And here is exactly what is new. You can now hide system apps. I mean, you take a quick look here at this picture, you can see they've basically just pinned games to the front of it. So they're only seeing games. The system apps are being hidden from there. And you can also pin your favorites to your home. So you could pin up to 3 of your recently played games or apps directly to the recently played games and apps list. You can also reduce the tile count. This is coming soon. They say prefer a more minimal look. This setting allows you to reduce the number of visible tiles in the recently played games and apps list, helping you streamline your home and surface only the essentials. And they say we're still refining this setting and it will be coming soon. And why this matters, because you think about this, you look at this, you think it's not a big deal. I mean, something that should have probably been there from the very beginning, which it absolutely should have. They did have pinning options previously, but it just wasn't in the same form as this. But they say here that they've heard from many people that the home should feel more like your space. And that is basically why they are doing this. And it's a nice update. It makes it look significantly cleaner when you could just have the stuff that you want there. You only have games as you scroll across, the background changes to the game that you're playing. It does give it a nice clean look. One of the things people continuously mention whenever there are updates to the user interface, and I would probably agree with this overall, is that if you're subscribed to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, there shouldn't be any ads on the home screen itself, and it should be as clean, as minimalistic as you want it to be, where you're seeing your games and you're seeing the art for those games as you go through each and every tile and each and every app. And I think that would be great at some point if they were able to do that. The reality is they make money by putting ads on these screens, so they're making additional money off of Game Pass Ultimate users just by having them look at the ads on the home screen. It doesn't bother me to this sense that when I turn on my Xbox, I'm there thinking about it. But I've seen so many comments about that. And you step back and you think about it a bit more. It's like, yeah, if you're paying $20 a month or something, like with other subscription services, there shouldn't be ads anywhere. But the Xbox user interface, I like it. I think it's good. They're continuously refining it and making it better. The big thing for me is I think they're going and moving this to the direction where your Xbox experience, no matter what screen you're on, is going to basically be the same, whether you're on the console, whether you're on the Xbox PC app, or whether you're on a handheld or any other screens out there. They should have it to the point where it is basically the same, with maybe like what they have with the PC app, a compact mode for these smaller screens out there. But a nice upgrade. People seem very excited about this, and we will see more features and more things coming out obviously in the future for the Xbox user interface. All right, this is an interesting story here. Call of Duty Warzone on mobile is shutting down, and this is only a year after it actually did release. Now, when this first did drop, I saw a lot of people getting confused thinking this was the Call of Duty mobile game itself. It is not that. It is just the Warzone Battle Royale mode that they did finally bring over to mobile devices. A year out, the Activision is saying, yeah, it did not meet expectations and we're moving away from this application. They say here that it was released in March 2024 for iOS and Android, co-developed by Activision Shanghai, Beenox, Digital Legends, and Solid State Studios. And in the statement, they did publish this on Friday. They said that they ended the support for Warzone Mobile because it had not met our expectations with mobile first players like it has with PC and console audiences. And effective immediately, players will no longer be able to purchase digital currency, and no further seasonal content will be released for Warzone Mobile. And from Sunday, which was yesterday, the game will no longer be available to download from stores. If you have the game installed, then you will be able to continue to play online matches. But they say going forward, we will be streamlining the scope of the game. And this decision was made after careful consideration of various factors. And while they're proud of the accomplishment in bringing Call of Duty Warzone to mobile in an authentic way, it unfortunately has not met expectations with mobile first players like it has with the PC and the console audiences. They continue here to say, we know that this news may be disappointing, and we truly appreciate the support, passion, feedback, and dedication from the community. And we have special incentives for Call of Duty Warzone mobile players in Call of Duty Mobile, and encourage our players to try it for free. So the Warzone side of things shut down. The main mobile side of things still running because that brings in probably an insane amount of money for Activision and for Xbox, as that was one of the major things that Xbox did mention when purchasing Activision Blizzard, which kind of makes this decision even more head scratching, even more confusing. Is one of their main focuses that they emphasize with purchasing Activision Blizzard was mobile, getting the mobile side of gaming, expanding that out because they can see a large growth opportunity to get more users into the Xbox ecosystem that way. And a year out after releasing one of the more popular games out there, I mean, in general, not just on mobile, but across PC and console, they're shutting down the battle royale, not really even giving it a chance to potentially pick up a mobile and then eventually become something bigger than it is. And the numbers must have been very low. They must have seen the writing on the wall that people just did not like it on phones, on iOS, and on Android. And I can kind of see that for the Warzone game mode, but the actual mobile Call of Duty is still very big, and that plays pretty well. So we'll see what they do next. Are they just done with bringing more mobile features and game modes for Call of Duty to the mobile devices, or will this just be them closing this down and then going out there and trying something new? I don't think it is the end. I think they still really want to release more mobile stuff and expand that realm of gaming. So I'm sure we will see more mobile games coming out of Activision and the other studios that they do have there from ABK. All right, we got another day one Xbox Game Pass game now. This isn't something that is a brand new game. Is kind of an update to a very, very popular multiplayer game, and that is Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege X is coming day one to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on June 10th. And Game Pass members are also getting additional benefits for the game itself. So that's coming. It's another day one game starting in June. Game Pass has been just insane this year, and this kind of adds to it if you are a fan of Rainbow Six Siege, a very, very popular online multiplayer game. And it's one that continues to get better with Rainbow Six Siege X. It'll just be the next jump into it. We've seen some of the upgrades and graphics. It does have a nice polish to it if you're somebody who has played the original. I wonder if this was something that they are going to announce at the June showcase, but they just have it out now, or if this is just another one of those announcements that we're getting before the June showcase, because we have so much to look forward to on the Xbox showcase, I believe June 8th this year. So there's going to be so much for Game Pass, I think, even from first party stuff to kind of fill out the second half of this year, which we still don't know everything that is coming to Xbox and Game Pass, but we are getting smaller trickle down announcements here leading up to the showcase. And I think that's because they want to get these smaller ones out of the way now so that they can give all the big ones during the actual Xbox show. So exciting stuff there. All right, let's talk Bungie Marathon. This one is wild, and I feel like I'm going to come out on the wrong end of my thoughts and predictions on this, at least as of right now. I'm kind of thinking that mine is slightly changing here, but I thought Marathon, yeah, it didn't have the greatest reception in the world, but I thought the game was still going to do decently well because Bungie has a loyal fan base of people that are going to go out there and try it no matter what. And if the game is fun, it's going to catch on. You're going to see a lot of streamers playing it, and it's going to be pushed out there. But now there's a whole new controversy that is really having a ton of backlash on Bungie, and that is having to do with the assets and the art and the plagiarism and assets being put into this game without crediting the artist. Now, they explained everything that did go on here, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. But first of all, morale at Bungie reportedly is in a free fall. And this isn't the first time we've heard about negative things happening at Bungie themselves. In fact, this is kind of nothing really new at this point. But here's a report here from Insider Gaming saying that morale at Bungie reportedly in a free fall over Marathon. And the report actually comes from Paul Tassi at Forbes. And they say after another brutal week for Bungie, after an artist named Anti-Real accused Bungie of plagiarizing her art for its upcoming games at Marathon, and then Bungie admits to this all happening and saying that they've reached out to the artist to do right by them. The report says here that employee morale at Bungie is currently in a free fall, and the vibes have never been worse. Quoted here saying, everyone has the same concerns about what happens to Bungie as a studio if Marathon bombs, which is something they absolutely cannot afford. And as for what all this means, the future of the game is currently unclear, but according to a report, there's currently no plan to delay the game from its September release date. They also outline here that some changes were made to the Bungie marketing plan, and Bungie will be pulling the plug earlier this month on a new trailer that was slated to be revealed in June. And I can totally see that, especially from what has happened recently at PlayStation with games as a service games. It has been not a very good ride for them. I mean, games have been canceled. The whole Concord situation. We're running in now into the Fair Game situation that is still kind of unraveling here with Jade Raymond, who is the creator of Haven, leaving the studio. Report is after the first playtest. People just weren't unhappy with that game. And now you have a game, Marathon, that's coming from Bungie, which you kind of would expect would be the one that they can really bet on to be something that will be successful and be able to make them a lot of money and have a great release and everything. And it is just not happening like that whatsoever. The game may play good, the game may feel really good in your hands, but because of all the controversy surrounding it, there may be a hard time for this game to be successful. It's all because of this art thing. Now, to be fair, they did explain, they went on stream, they faced it. They talked about what happened here and exactly what they are doing. It's about a 4-minute clip here that summarizes the response to it. But Cami here on X sums it up saying that the Marathon art director responds to the recent plagiarism controversy live on stream. And he says that an ex-Bungie artist used assets belonging to Anti-Real without any permission or acknowledgement. And he quoted here saying, at this point, it's a very small set of assets. The decals themselves are placed on the sides of buildings or crates or something like that, but we absolutely do need to replace them. And if you listen to the clip, he is talking about that. And that is also in a response to a question where somebody is asking, why don't they just hire this person to work with them? And his response is, well, we have lots of artists and that may be an option to hire them, to contract them. They're in talks trying to figure something out right now. But the reality is the assets aren't these huge ones taking over the whole game. It is, as they say here, the small assets on and decals themselves. Doesn't make it any less worse, but that is what he says. He says, we're confident that the majority of the assets in that capacity are original and were created by our internal artists. Then also goes on, talks about how Bungie will be reviewing every art asset in the game and are committed to removing anything that is questionably or inappropriately sourced. And then Bungie has reached out saying we will love to work with Anti-Real if the opportunity presents itself. So we'll see what happens. I feel like Anti-Real is going to get compensated in some way, and this whole thing will be worked out. And it's a very unfortunate situation because I don't think this is Bungie being malicious or going out there and purposely doing anything like this because they were lazy or whatever. It was somebody who previously worked at Bungie. This fell through the cracks, which is the part that shouldn't have happened when they're going through and they're auditing the art. Should have never happened that this fell through the cracks, but it did. And now the artist found this and it got out there on social media, and there's a huge thing that is bringing Marathon down, rightfully so, for using those assets. But I wonder how big of an effect this will have on the release of this game. I think if they come out and they do right by Anti-Real and they make sure that that person is taken care of for having stolen those assets, then maybe that could help it. But right now there is still a huge controversy, and I don't know how many people are going to forgive Bungie for this going forward. We will see. It'll be very, very interesting to see come September, because I don't think the beta or the playtest that they had huge numbers, but Sony cannot afford for this game to fail. And I think that whole morale thing makes a ton of sense, because if it does fail, there will probably be layoffs. There'll probably be some more bad things happening because of multiple games as a service games failing at PlayStation and Bungie. This next one here, after they've entered into PlayStation, it would just not be a good look. And finally, Yves Guillemot. We know that the Ubisoft and the Guillemot family, they don't want to relinquish control of Ubisoft. It's their baby. They built it here from the ground up. They made a side deal here with Tencent for a subsidiary, gives them a bit more control over the company and that subsidiary. I don't think Yves Guillemot and his family are trying to go anywhere or will be going anywhere anytime soon, which I believe is probably a better play and will be better for gamers than selling Ubisoft completely to like a huge corporation or to Tencent. I think if they can figure it out internally and get things right from the ground up, from what they used to be able to do, that will be the best possible outcome. Well, his son, Charlie Guillemot, is returning to Ubisoft, which makes me believe that's just kind of what they are going to be trying to do. This is according to an internal email that was sent to Insider Gaming. Charlie Guillemot will be rejoining the company to join the forces with Marie-Sophie Duaubert to lead the company's transformation committee. And the committee consists of 10 members set to guide the evolution of Ubisoft's brands and studios over the next 100 days. We did previously just hear that they are delaying some of their major IPs, specifically games that people believe it's going to be like Splinter Cell and Ghost Recon, and maybe feature out Assassin's Creed games. Some of those will be delayed until 2026. And maybe they're looking at the portfolio and thinking, how can we make sure that these games come out at the best possible quality? So that would, I think if that is the case, that is a good move. There is also an update here that Ubisoft has issued the following statement saying, with the recent announcement to create a new subsidiary, Ubisoft is undertaking a transformation of its entire organization. Charlie Guillemot has rejoined Ubisoft and is on the internal transformation committee that will recommend to the executive committee a new operating model designed to ensure Ubisoft's long-term success. I wonder what they are going to do, because right now Ubisoft is known for their major open world games, making these huge experiences that they want people to stay inside of for hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours, and spend most of their gaming time in those worlds. And I think it works for games like Assassin's Creed and maybe a couple of other bigger IPs out there, but it does not work for everything. And if they're always trying to chase the trend in gaming, which is kind of, I think, what brought them to that, and then you think about other trends that are coming up, if they're always trying to chase the trend, they're going to be behind if they're not leading in innovation. I wonder what their next steps are. I hope it is kind of to refine and just make really well-built games, lots of good single player experiences with not too much bloat, and then still give one or two of those bigger experiences, those bigger games as a service, multiplayer experiences, and still have some of those big open world Assassin's Creeds with the smaller ones on the side, which is kind of what I think that they are doing. Because I enjoy the Assassin's Creed, but with other IPs, there's so many things they can do to get people back into it. And even with all that being said, they did sort of try that with Prince of Persia and The Lost Crown. That game didn't sell well. So they're in a predicament here, and it will be very interesting to see exactly what they do going forward. My best guess is, with all that being said, they're probably just going to look at the IPs that sell well and just really focus and double down on those, which to me, again, I would love to see some innovation, some new stuff come out of them. You know, they tried new stuff and it's failed, but at some point you have to continuously try it, give it more chances, and then something will land. I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll be right back.